Hello, and welcome to another show, or another episode, I guess. It's not quite a show. Well, I guess episodes are composed of shows, but I think you know what I mean. Welcome to another, podcast thing. So, I was thinking, as usual, what shall we talk about? But I figured, as always, I'm sure we'll find something to talk about. And I thought, why? Because, well, we're human. Well, I'm human. I don't know about we, but I am. And I just was thinking about what that meant, to be human. And I was thinking about people who have thoughts about humanity. Naturally, I thought of some philosophers. I thought of an ancient Chinese philosopher by the name of Mencius. Mencius is a Confucian, although he comes about, a century after Confucius, and near the same province of Lu, which is sort of in northeastern China, and he doesn't really become popular until Neo-Confucianism takes off, I guess, somewhat. Perhaps a millennium later. But anyway, you don't really need to know all that stuff about him. You just need to know what he had to say about humanity. Mencius, should we go for the second ending? All right, we can. But it's going to be hard to find this quote because I have the book in front of me. Mencius believed that human nature was good, and he has this example of why that is the case, which is basically if you see a baby in a well, or not in a well, but on the border of a well, walking on a well, a young child, what have you. I guess babies don't really walk, but you know what I mean. A young child is sort of walking perilously on the well, on the edge of a well? Okay, whatever. You get the idea. Anyway, he says that everyone, most everyone, I guess, everyone, except for psychopaths, would go and save the baby. This always stood out to me, because I remember I had a dream once about my nieces and nephews, and we were up high in these rafters. I think maybe in like a stadium, sort of where near their dad works, I guess, my brother. And I remember, I don't know if they fell off or they were just about to fall off. I just remember the whole dream was very stressful. And I don't know if some of you know this, just that feeling of, stress when there's, kids, I guess, or what have you, walking around like a cliff or something. I don't know, my mom always used to worry about that. I remember being at, not the Grand Canyon, but other sort of large, tall, I don't know where we were, places, which is, don't go by the edge, careful, that just that feeling. And so I just had that dream about it, and it really seemed very real to me. So let's see what he says actually in his own words, well, in his translated words, from probably some bamboo strips that were dug out of the ground hundreds of years ago. He says this. He says, suddenly seeing a baby about to fall into a well, anyone would be heart-stricken with pity. Heart-stricken not because they wanted to curry favor with the baby's parents, not because they wanted the praise of neighbors or friends, and not because they hated the baby's cries. This is why I say everyone has a heart that can't bear to see others suffer. So, Mencius, there's other parts. For example, he says, human nature is inherently good, just like water, flows inherently downhill. There's no such thing as a person who isn't good, just as there's no water that doesn't flow downhill. He says, think about water. If you slap it, you can make it jump over your head. And if you push and shove, you can make it stay on a mountain. But what does this have to do with the nature of water? It's only responding to the forces around it. It's like that for people, too. You can make them evil, but that says nothing about human nature. And before I put the book down, why don't I just read one more quote? Because I like this quote. It's about Ox Mountain. This always sticks out to me when I was thinking about education a lot and thinking about going into teaching and did a little teaching myself. Mencius said, the forests were once lovely on Ox Mountain, but as they were near a great city, axes cleared them little by little. Now there's nothing left of their beauty. They rest day and night, rain and dew falling in plenty, and there's no lack of fresh sprouts. But people graze oxen and sheep there, so the mountain's stripped bare. When people see how bare it is, they think that's all the potential it has. But does that mean this is the nature of Ox Mountain? Anyway, so some thought for you about potential and nature and sort of the appearances of things. And, you see someone or something, and who's to say you're not just looking at Ox Mountain, all stripped bare from trees, like the Lorax. But that doesn't say much about their potential. And if I remember, I will share one more quote, which the title of this broadcast is from. Let me, hold on a second. I hate to bug you. I just had to move my my mouse so that I could see how long we have. I guess about 8 minutes left. So, anyway, that's what Mencius has to say about human nature. Actually, I'm going to say, hold on a second, let me scoot you over a little. Wait a minute. There we go. If you don't know what I'm doing, I'm like swinging around this microphone. Okay, there we go. Splendid. Splendid. So, I don't know, maybe you don't think human nature is inherently good, though. I'm not sure what I think, but I'm curious, I guess. You're always welcome to comment or whatever if you're watching this on YouTube, if it's still on YouTube, unless it someday gets deleted to clear the way for perhaps a higher quality content. But come on, how much higher quality can you get? We're reading quotes from ancient Chinese philosophers. There's music in the background. By the way, that music was from My Fair Lady as well. I've grown accustomed to her face, is the song. So, maybe you don't think humans are inherently good, and you think they're just evil, just out to get, just greedy, selfish. I do think everyone is selfish in a way. I mean, I think everyone's always looking out for... Everyone always does what they think is the right thing, for example. I always say that. It's not really... It's kind of trite, because it's not really that much you can get out of it, but you do find that sometimes the simplest things can be the most profound. That's probably why I had such an interest in studying ancient philosophers like Plato and like Mencius and Confucius and such, because sometimes it's that simpleness that really captures things that, like, for example, Hegel's, German, his phenomenology of spirit doesn't quite capture in a subtle way. It's a big book for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, who aren't up to snuff on your German metaphysics or what have you. So, about human nature and humanity. I wonder sometimes what makes people... Actually, I don't wonder this. I'm only saying it for the sake of the show, but I am wondering right now what makes people have their views about, the future. I know for me, I like science. Science is always something that makes me... When I look through the news, and there's Google News, for example, I use that sometimes. I'm always, the science section, you can rarely go wrong, because it's just people are just learning things about the world and facts, and it's just so neat, and new star systems and new species are discovered. Occasionally you get the rare, uh-oh, we're ruining everything and the earth is dying because, greedy corporate executives are pumping oil into blah, 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 and, all these species are extinct or what have you, or some, I don't know, genetic thing here and there. But for the most part, I think the advances of science give me faith in humanity. That kind of makes me regret I don't do more science or get more involved, but maybe perhaps I will somehow. I guess there's a little bit of science in the latest project of mine that I'm doing. A sort of biology, botany, zoology kind of thing. So let's go back to humanity, though, in our few remaining minutes. Because, I mean, I guess that's a lot of problems, isn't it? The root of a lot of questions is what is it human nature like? I mean, what is its true human nature? What is its true form? I don't know what you'd say. What is it? What is it? What is human nature? I suppose the next blog post I'll write, which I should do, will be somewhat about like free choice and determinism, and maybe that relates to human nature, because there is one extra quote by Mencius, but I'm not going to grab the book because it's over there, where he says you can't. The only way, it's like, I'll paraphrase. It's not as nice, but something like the only way to judge whether someone is good or evil is by their actions. And I guess that is how we do things, isn't it? They say actions speak louder than words. You know, speaking while we're just quoting, why don't I just quote you one other thing? Because whatever, there are plenty of smart people who've said nicer things than I have, so why not do that? But do you remember there's like a Taoist thinker. I don't know if it's attributed to Lao Tzu. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, I guess it says it's a quote by Gandhi, but that's like Goodreads.com, and who knows? I'm not sure. Quote investigator. We're not going to investigate the quote right now, but I will read it to you, and maybe you're familiar with it. It goes like this: your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. So, I don't know. I guess we got 2.5 minutes, and I'm going to have to figure out how to wrap up this whole idea about like actions and human nature and what it means to learn and to grow and to change and, to be, I guess. And I guess I probably don't quite have the time. I just don't have the time. Speaking of time, let's find one more quote. There's a great quote by Leonard Bernstein, great popularizer and of music, or educator, I guess, but also just a musician and composer and conductor. He says, quick, we got a minute left. Yes. He says, to achieve great things, 2 things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time. So, the greatness that we were going to flush out about, I don't know, human nature, I guess, really, in a sense. And many, 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 many implications that has in all of our lives and societal structures and systems and just existence, I suppose. Since we're human, like we've all got that in common, huh? And then we say things aren't humane. Humanity, it's inhumane. Or like the famous quote when the Hindenburg blew up, oh, the humanity. So, we have 1 minute left. I mean, how do you sum up these lofty topics? What do you do? Yeah. What do you do? I'll just let you think about it, alright? You can just spend a moment, spend a couple seconds, or just let me know what you think, shoot me an email or something. Give me your opinions about human nature. Maybe you know something I don't. And I don't know, why do we think the things we think about it? That as well, you can think about it. Anyway, okay, so I will finish with this one quote. This is sort of a quote I always liked by Albert Einstein. It's kind of about education, I think, and people, but it's about this potential Ox Mountain kind of thing. Here it goes. Everybody's a genius. That's what the title's from. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid.